Hi there, welcome to this review of the One Way UK Daily Devotionals for the week 28th of May through to the 1st of June. And considering what we read this week, I must say I've been really taken with the link on Monday with the Friday reading. And the Friday reading was when Jesus said to Peter concerning John, if I will that he remain till I come, what is that to you? You should follow me. I don't want to talk about what we said on the Friday, but I do want to pick up on where we picked up on the Monday. It says, then this saying went out among the brethren, that this disciple, i.e. John, would not die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he would not die, but if I will that he remain till I come, what is that to you? This is the disciple who testifies of these things and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. In other words, John is saying, look, this was said about me, I heard it with my own ears, I was there at the time, and I'm just reporting the facts. And we can see that what arose out of this simple statement that Jesus made is that the rumour mill began, even amongst his own disciples, and that this thing came that that John rather would remain till Jesus came again, which is, John says, it's not true. He wasn't saying he wouldn't die. The basic point Jesus was making, look, if I make these decisions about this man, what's it got to do with you? And all of it's underlining the fact that you and I can fall into a trap, and we can be far more concerned about what's happening to the other person and their relationship with God than our own personal relationship with God. Isn't it always easier to see the faults and the problems of others than our own faults and problems? And or when I say problems, the things that maybe we could perhaps improve upon. And so that made a big impact on me. And this rumour began out of a conversation and a misunderstanding. How much goes on in the church, or your church or my church, where a simple misunderstanding grows and develops, and it develops, and it's like when you get a small snowball, and this is wonderful weather in which to be talking about snow, a small snowball, and you roll it, and it gets bigger, and it's bigger, and it's bigger, and it's bigger, and it grows, and it grows until it gets one great big snowball that we see in our parks and gardens around the country when the snow falls, where children and adults have done this to see how big a ball they can get. But you see, rumours are like that. They gather credibility with their journey from person to person to person. The important thing is that underlying this story that we sort of concluded, this little aspect of it on Monday, is the fact that rumours are misleading, and what began with an element of truth ends up as a whopping great lie. And it's more disturbing than that, because you could see that it could actually breed dissension. Because if the disciples are all standing there beginning to believe that John isn't going to die, and say, well, what's this guy done that I haven't done? Why is he going to have immortality and I'm not? And you see, it directs us all from the amazing, wonderful truth that you and I have immortality in Jesus Christ. Yes, we're in a transitional phase. The Bible describes us as pilgrims going through this land. Our home, it says, is in heaven. The reality is we're not South African, we're not Nigerian, we're not Americans, we're not British, we're not Italians, we're not French, we're not Chinese. If we are born again believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, we're heavenites. We belong in heaven, that's where our home is. And currently we're on a journey. And it's when you're sort of go on holiday, maybe you go on travelling holiday. My wife and I have been looking at one of these where we'll be going into different locations. And if we do, we will go out on that journey and we will be passing through this city, this land, and then we will return, God willing. But it's a transition. It's like if you go on one of these cruises around a sea like the Baltic or the Mediterranean. You are transitioning through that area, and eventually you will end up where you started, which is your home. And our home is in heaven. Now, how do we know it's our home? Because God has called us by name, because we've been adopted into his family through Jesus Christ. And we actually began, he saw us being formed in our mother's womb. He was there even before our birth. We were actually children of his thought, his care. If you like, God knew us before we were even conceived. And that means that we were conceived in his mind and his heart before we were physically conceived within our mothers. Which is really exciting, because it means that, if you like, each one of us came from God in the origins of our very being and very creation, and therefore returning to him, and we call that entrance into life, death. But it is an entrance into the fullness of life, which is what Jesus explained. So, hey, that's cool. Paul put it like this, that to live is Christ and to die is gain. And we're transitioning through life. Well, we seem to have come a long way from the rumour mill. But I think the lesson that we can draw is, hey, all rumours stop with me. In other words, if we took that stance and said, well, if I hear a rumour, we just say to people, that sounds to me like a rumour, and I don't think we need to pay any attention to it at all, because all things will be made plain in the fullness of time. Knowing that ultimately God has all things in his hands, but that ultimately our home is safe and secure because our home is in heaven. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful Jubilee weekend, and it's just so wonderful to have a Queen on our throne who loves the Lord Jesus Christ. And so let's all this weekend really pray that her reign will continue to be happy and glorious until that day when she, like us, goes to be with Jesus Christ in heaven. I look forward to seeing you next week.